So hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here looking down on Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq. He's got
Yes.
some little funky thing going on with his camera. He's still trying to figure out how to make it work, but he's got a trap house background. It's not a big deal, right?
Right.
Anyway, this is the Demetra K show and podcast where we talk about all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always be greater, right? There's always room for improvement. With that being said, today we're going to talk about that of Brittney Griner. I know her name is Griner, but I'm going to call her Griner because I just, the Negro in me just don't want to change, right? So Brittney Griner, the superstar, basketball superstar, WNBA. She plays for a team of Phoenix
Mercury. Phoenix Mercury. She's
Phoenix Mercury.
she's also a former champion. So
correct. And so she was playing overseas in Russia, and it sounds like she's been over there for about 7 years or so.
No, in and out for 7 years. But
yeah.
Brittney Griner is a native Houstonian.
Correct.
And she made Baylor for college, so she's a native person down there.
So anyway, with all of that being said, Brittney Griner is detained in Russia due to being stopped by Russian customs for having a vape pen, a cartridge, a vape pen cartridge full of hash, which is some form of marijuana, for what I understand. Don't give me the line. I've never done any of it. But anyway, and so sounds like they don't know for sure. She's been detained for about 3 weeks or so. Are we having an echo?
They actually put her booking picture up today. So
I saw that. Do we have an echo going on? No. Okay. So from what they could tell, that she's been detained for about 3 weeks, because they said she hasn't been seen in public since like the first part of February, and she hasn't posted anything on her social media. And then it sounds like her wife has confirmed that she has been detained. Okay. So they are investigating this little vape pen full of hash, and if it is found out that she is guilty, I guess whenever she goes to court, whatever the process is, she is looking at doing. Yeah, I do it here, Echo. Are you watching me on something else? Let me just mute your mic for a little bit. There we go. Better. Okay, so if she's found guilty, she's looking at about 10 years or so in a Russian prison. There's been some outcry so far. Representative Sheila Jackson-Lee, who is, from Houston, represents Houston, she has demanded that Putin release Brittney immediately. It says that Putin never listens to anybody. He does what he wants. He's just kind of been wreaking havoc all over the world since he's been in power. Also, Senator Lindsey Graham has asked for, if South Carolina has asked for her release, and says that they're doing everything they can to get her released. Now, there's also said that Russia may try to use her as leverage because she's, celebrity to some degree. And so they might try to use her as leverage for, I don't know, releasing of some of their prisoners or
ridiculous.
Well, this is what they're saying, that she's a political hostage, right? And so as it stands, she is over there. So we're going to have this conversation about what she's facing and how she got there and all the politics and everything behind it. So Donovan, what say you?
I'm going to say, first of all, that is totally ridiculous. Okay. And I'm not saying what you're saying is not true. I'm just saying to bring that up is ridiculous. We do not even support the WNBA here in the United States. Okay. And for some reason, that's a man's fault. But if you look at the numbers, more women support the NBA that support the WNBA. If it wasn't for men, there wouldn't be a WNBA, because in its 20-something year existence, the WNBA has never turned a profit. That means they're being subsidized by men, okay, or the NBA, however you want to call it, okay? So a lot of these women have to go overseas and make money, which is perfectly fine. There's a bigger market for it. Stephon Marbury, he's bigger in China than he is here in the United States. He's a legend over there in China. So these women go over there, and I don't blame these women. Brittney Griner, for the team that she plays on in Russia, they pay her over $1 million. That is 10 times what she makes in the WNBA. But you've got these feminazis out here who are trying to compare the salaries of this and that. two apples and oranges. So the point of Brittney Griner going over there, she's been going over there for 7 years. We're just speculating, whatever. I'm very sure after going over there for 7 years, she was very familiar with the rules. And what I don't like and what I hate is everybody is making excuses for her bad behavior. You're in another country, accountability is everything. I know here in America, everything is gray. Everybody operates in gray. Oh, he's a criminal because he was raised in the ghetto. Oh, she's a thought because her mother was a stripper, and she comes from little bad little thing. We've got all these excuses. Okay, well, let me tell you guys something. When I was living in Japan, ain't no excuses. These are the rules. You break them, these are the consequences. And Dimitri, you and I say this all the time when these people talk about where they gonna live. I'm gonna go over here and live over here. I'm gonna go over here and live over there. No, you're not, because you're gonna go over there with that American attitude that, oh, I'm an American, so I can do it. It's funny how black people, we think we can go over to other countries and we act just as white people do over here toward us in these other countries. What do you got to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot going on there. I mean, to be looking at 10 years in another country, in a country as austere as Russia, I mean, that has to be very devastating, right? But then there's the other part of it. And listen, I want to say this early because I just don't want anybody to think that we are agreeing that Brittney should be enduring what she is enduring.
Absolutely
but I think we need to, I think we need to deal with the facts and be realistic. And the one thing, America is, if you ask most black people, is not a good country, right? But no, I'm not even going to say that because I have something else in the back of my mind. But so over here, you are entitled to certain freedoms. Let's just say that people kind of get away with a lot. Now, ordinarily, Brittney being a celebrity over here, I'm sure there's a lot she would get away with, right? Because she's not just a black and she's gay, on top of that.
Which is a crime in Russia, by the way.
Well, she's not just a black gay woman or gay black woman, I don't know however you want to say it, but she enjoys another class, which she is a celebrity and she is wealthy. And so she tends to, have a little bit more leeway to do stuff like that. So she got caught with a cartridge full of hash over here. Nobody probably wouldn't have batted an eye, right? I would think. But so I tend to think
it's legal in California, it's legal in Colorado,
but it's not. But
it doesn't matter.
So I would think, and then the other thing I should say too is it's an investigation, so she's not really been found guilty just yet. So these are allegations. They still got to go through their whole investigation and stuff. But let's just say that they did find that and all of that. Well, I mean, in Rome, you got to do what the Romans do. That's the saying. And when in Rome, do what they're doing. So when you're over there in Russia and you know that those type of things are illegal, then you probably shouldn't have that. And plus, I don't know, I just think you being in a WNBA, that's probably against regulations as well for you to be doping to some degree. I'm assuming that's what they call it. And so you go over there, and I don't know what she's thinking, but then you're over there smoking the hash, but then you go through customs where there's a high probability that you'll get caught with it. And so, now we're going to spend, when I say we, I'm talking about the United States, all of these resources and efforts to try to free Brittney, which, not Britney Spears, but Brittney Griner, or, try to free her. But it's like, shouldn't you have assumed the risks when you were over there with such contraband, if you will? And I'm sure you've been over there. Let me finish. You've been over there for a while, and the rules and the regulations, not only of the WNBA, but of Russia. I mean, 7 years, I think, is a long enough time for you to know what you're dealing with. So, I mean, she's facing that kind of time. But I mean, who are we as Americans to tell Russians what they should and should not be doing? In addition to, Russia is in the middle of a full-fledged war against Ukraine. I mean, so I don't know how much time they have on their schedule, they being Putin, to say, okay, pause the war. We got an American over here that got caught with some hash. Let's stop it and let's deal with that. I mean, it's like, who knows when they're going to get to that.
Wait. See, the one thing that you're missing in all that, you keep saying American, see, and here's the problem. Just like you said, Putin's in the middle of a war. It's one thing if it was an American, just like the press says over here. Oh, this ain't Africa over here. We're talking about white people. This is Europe. This is, the us, right? This is a black gay woman. Do you think Putin, I mean, with all the propaganda that is thrown out about black people, do you think Putin gives a two shits about a black gay woman that got caught with some hashish, and he's going to, stop his time to do some diplomatic situations? No, he's not even going to worry about that. And nobody's even talking about the 2 or 3 Marines that have been incarcerated for years now. They could have been spies. I don't know. It's kind of weird that 2 or 3 of them are Marines. But my point is, you got white male Marines that are over there, and nobody says a damn thing. But it's just amazing to me how the Democrats, how did this get Sheila Jackson Lee's attention so quickly, but we can't get qualified immunity? We can't get a crime bill. We can't get a voting rights bill. We can't get a reparations talk. But the minute a gay black woman gets caught in Russia, she's aware and she's taking the headlines. Where's that energy, Sheila Jackson Lee, for black people just in general here in this country?
Well, I should also say, in all fairness, Sheila is, representative of Houston, and Brittney is from Houston. So maybe there's some commonality there. But I would also like to stretch and say maybe, because I don't know, maybe she knows Brittney personally. I don't know. But I think it's really one of those things. Well, let's just do it just to say we did it, right? Let's do it to say we did it. And somebody's calling me. I don't know who this is. Let's do it to say we did it, right? And then we'll go on about our own little day, whatever, because we'd be remiss not to say something about it. But I don't personally think that Sheila or Lindsay or any of those government officials really care a whole lot about getting Brittney home. Because one thing, Donovan, you are well versed in the casualties of war per se, and same thing like in a prison situation. They're not going to concede the demands of prisoners per se, or somebody holding somebody hostage. Like, okay, well, we'll give you Brittney if you give us 20 of our prisoners that you guys are holding or whatever. So, I don't know. I just don't see them putting forth a whole lot of effort as they would have, like with Otto Warmbier was his name. He was the white kid that went over to, I think it was South Korea, North Korea, one of the two, and he stole the flag, and then they detained him, and I think they sentenced him to like 5 to 10 years for stealing the flag. He was like, I was just playing. I want to take it from my grandma. And needless to say, he ended up coming back over here as a vegetable, and then he ended up dying. So something happened to him in that prison. So, Trump and them was trying to get him out and negotiate. But at the end of the day, you don't have.
Well, they got him out, but he wasn't the same. He didn't last long.
They have no need for him now. But the point that I'm making is Sheila Jackson Lee too. You have no power over here to get black people anything. So what makes you think you have power over there to get Brittney out? You've been taking up the mantle of reparations from John Conyers, and like what you
zero results.
You can't persuade your fellow people to make a move, and so here you are wagging your finger at Putin, telling him what he better do, and Putin's like, "Who? You better go tend to your Cinnabons on top of your head because I got bigger fish to fry."
Yeah, and what's really sad, especially in our community, we don't do enough traveling. That's why I always stress people traveling. I don't care if you need to get on a bus and go up to Oklahoma. If you're from the South, I don't care. Just go to a different environment and see how people are living. Now, in Russia, those people, unless you're an oligarch, aren't living a very, very great life in regards to America or the West, let's say. Okay, they're not living like super great. So they don't have a lot of emphasis and starstruckness when it comes to their athletes and their stars. They just don't. It's a different culture. These people get up, they work every day. They are not distracted by the Hollywood or the sports icon thing. They're just not. Most of these people, they're just not. So again, we take our American attitude and we go over to these other countries and we expect the same exact treatment. I was in a country one time, and in this country, well, it wasn't a country, it's Guam, the thing of Guam. And they have good houses there, but a lot of the indigenous Guamanians, they live in these it's just really simple. 4 walls. And you got all these cars around it, and this whole family lives in these 4 walls of a building, and they call it home. But see, if you're an American like we are, you're going to go over there and say, oh, no, I got to have this, and I got to have that, and oh, we got to have, no, the expectations are going to be totally different. And that's one of the main problems. People are looking at this situation as if she's here in America, where her celebrity will get her out of a lot of things. Her lawyer will get her out of a lot of things. You can get a lawyer in some of these countries, and the lawyer works for the state that expect a certain outcome. It's kind of like if you're in the military, the United States military. You guys don't know this. The United States, what's that called? The JAG system, which is the jury. It's kind of like in A Few Good Men. They have a 96.9 conviction rate. They almost never lose. Never. Because it's already decided. Here are the rules. And this is the thing. And it kind of goes to what we're talking about, Brittney Griner. You're in the military and they say, you can't smoke weed. You can't do this. You got to be in the barracks at a certain time. You got to do this. These are all rules. You sign up for it. You know what they are. The minute you break them, and if they want to prosecute you, give you Article 15 or whatever, the outcome is you lost just based on the fact that you are in the military, and this is the UCMJ, the rules. You don't have to know all of them, but you got to, have some common sense. What's your defense going to be? And that's pretty much what Brittney Griner is kind of in. And we could go back to that Tachari Richardson thing. Same thing. She knew what the situation was. She was going to get smoked in the Olympics anyway. But the point is, she broke the rules, and everybody's, oh my God, it's just weed. In California, it's legal, where she had got caught smoking it, blah, 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 blah. That's not the point. You know what your expectation is. And this is what gets our celebrities in trouble all the time. And Demetra, this is why I say this all the time. Show me a movie where the hero or the heroine, and I don't mean heroin in the sense of the drug, but the heroine in the movie did drugs and everything worked out great for them. They don't even write that up in Hollywood. And here it is, and I'm going to defend Brittney a little bit. Maybe she forgot this shit was in her bag. Remember when Whitney went to the airport, she forgot her weed was in there, and they get caught up in this stuff. But that goes back to my point of, I don't care who you are. The drugs dumb you down, and it just destroys your career. Because let's say she gets out of this. What's going to be the repercussions when she comes back to the United States in regards to her career with the WNBA?
So on Sunday, we had a conversation with, a couple people on the show. And actually it was one person. He's pretty adamant about going back to Africa, leaving this behind, because it says America's, pretty much a done deal for Black people, which, is right for the most part. But I argued that, okay, let's say we do leave. We as Black people in our current state of mind are going to take those same ideologies and bad habits and all that other stuff to other countries and do the same thing there, and we'll be right in the same situation. So the point to that is we need to change our mindset, right? We got to change our behaviors that are causing us. And I'm not saying what Black people are going through in America is all of our fault, but some of it is. And so we have to change those behaviors, because if we don't, we'll go somewhere else and we'll turn that into America Part 2, right? And so I say all of that to say is, if Brittney is guilty, and we don't know that because they're still investigating all of that, but for what they're saying she is, apparently she took those same ideas and behaviors over to another country who has proven that they are with the stuff, took it over there, gambled and lost. This woman is 31 years old, and she's looking at giving them 10 years on and the crazy part is, because Putin is so vexed with the United States, more than ever, except for when Trump was in office, there's no telling. He might say, throw the book at her. Now let's see what Biden and them are gonna do now. Let's throw the book at her, throw the key away, and let her ass get out when she's 41 years old. But all of that really stemmed from her not doing her due diligence and saying, okay, for one, because I teach this to everybody I can. Ask yourself, what is it going to cost me if I do A, B, C, and D? So I don't know if she has a habit. I don't know why Brittney had the hash or whatever it is, but she should have asked herself, and she should have had a conversation with herself that says, I'm a world-class athlete. Mm-hmm. I'm making a major lot of money for who I am and what I do as a woman in basketball. Do I need this, whatever it was, the hash? Do I need this? And if I get caught with this, what is it going to cost me? I got a new wife. I got all this a job that's paying me good money and my freedom. So at least 3 things off the top is going to cost me. So it sounds like a cartridge. It doesn't sound like she had a duffel bag full of them. Mm-hmm. She had a cartridge. And so that potential little cartridge, I'm assuming is little, I've never seen one before, is going to potentially cost her money, time, freedom, and potentially a relationship.
Right. And you got to think about this too. What if she does get out of it and they ban her from Russia? I'm not saying she can't get another contract somewhere else, but obviously she's been going back to Russia for 7 years. So it seems like that would be the place that she's been going to get to maximize her money potential. So what if they ban her out of there? And that's what I'm saying. I have yet to see where drugs have, at least for us as Black people, has benefited us to where, oh, it's no big deal. It's recreation. It's a big deal when it affects, at least for me, when it affects my livelihood. I'm not going to sacrifice my livelihood just so I could beam out of here for 15 minutes and, come back. My high is counting my money. That's my high. I love going to my bank account and seeing zeros and then kind of manipulate numbers and stuff. But that's always been our detriment as a people. It's like, well, I mean, this woman makes good money for playing a sport. She's up there. I mean, and, there's not many women that are 6'9". There's not many women, that have that height. So she has the notoriety of doing that. And then what's it going to cost you later on down the road, as in your reputation? Is this going to cut out a lot of opportunities? And I'm going to bring up Takari Richardson as an example again, too. Where are the Nike endorsements? What happened to all of that?
So I don't know if Sha'Carri still has those endorsements. I haven't heard that she doesn't, so I'm going to assume she does.
But, you don't see the commercials. You don't see anything anymore.
Right. So I don't know. But the other thing, too, is I think we need to really think about here. This is why we got to be really careful of the narratives we allow other people to read to us and to dictate to us. Because on the surface, we're hearing a couple of politicians, as I know, Lindsey Graham and Sheila Jackson Lee, waving their fist, telling Putin he needs to let Brittney go. But the other thing is, y'all in America got Black people locked up for that, for a cartridge or even less, and doing God knows how much time. I mean, we hear stories, and y'all know I cover a lot of stories on the African Diaspora News Channel. Countless stories of people going to prison for a dime bag, a nickel bag for years and years, 20, 30 years. And so my thing is, who are y'all? And when I say y'all, I mean these American politicians to tell Putin what to do. And y'all got droves of Black people sitting and rotting to death in the American penal system over, low-level infractions. The president that sits in the White House right now is responsible for that with these crime bills, with these mandatory minimums and all this other stuff. And so when I hear, that's why I said we got to be careful. Because when I hear Sheila Jackson Lee and Lindsey Graham, talking about what Putin needs to do, is like, y'all need to do the same shit. Y'all got Black people in locked up over here, and y'all ain't no bit trying to get them out, or even, waving your finger, let them out. It's not fair that I demand that you let all of these Negroes out of there that's under these crimes, but you ain't said none of that. But yet you're going to tell Putin, who you have absolutely no power, no control over, then I say that to say this. So on the naked eye, it seems that Sheila Jackson, she's out there, she's sticking it to Putin. But it's like, all right, great. Well, when are you going to stick it to your fellow co-workers who got people in their state prisons right now rotten to death. When are you going to have that much vigor for those people that you do for Putin?
Well, the funny thing is, what you're talking about is hypocrisy, the hypocrisy of America, because here we are worrying about this young lady, and we've got Americans that have been in jail over there, and these guys served in the military, and we talk about how much we love the military, and I'm very sure the State Department is doing what they got to do, because if you're asking me, it could be some spying going on. I don't know. I'm just speculating now. I don't know. But these two Marines that are over there that I do know that are over there, what are you doing there? And what were you doing for them to grab you like that? But hypocrisy, and it's, it just goes back to show you how short of a memory Americans have. Because here we are outraged at what Putin is doing to the Ukraine, but yet does anybody remember how we invaded Iraq that had nothing to do with 9/11? Destroyed and leveled the whole country, stayed in Afghanistan for 20 years, hung a man, even though he was a despot, hung a man that had nothing to do with 9/11, and yet Putin pretty much does the same playbook, uses the exact same playbook, and we're outraged.
But who gonna check them?
Exactly.
They ain't gonna, because see, unlike a lot of the other, countries like Ukraine, Putin wasn't going nowhere even thinking about giving up his nukes. He was like, shit, I got a lot of them. And guess what? I'm not afraid to use them. I'll take us out of here too. And so, some people will say, oh, he's dangerous. But is he dangerous, or is he strategic and smart? I mean, it's called the art of war for a reason. Like, you're going to let's say America, who claims to be a superpower, you're going to let them talk you out of all. See, this is the thing. Like, I don't know a whole lot about war, but I do know logic. And so United States did what they did to Iraq, Afghanistan, all the other countries, Libya, all of them, because they bullied them and they had the ability to do so. Why they ain't messing with none of the Koreas? Why they ain't messing with China? Why they not messing with Russia?
Because they got nuclear weapons.
Because they already know those countries are with the stuff. And so all they could do is get on their they being the United States, get on their bully pulpit and say, well, we're going to impose all these sanctions. I heard a report on NPR this afternoon, right before I came on here, that said that United States and Europe, a couple other countries, whatever, they're imposing these sanctions on Russia. They're not going to be ordering any more gas or not, oil and all this other stuff to try to squeeze Russia out. They have all this oil, right? Well, they said that Russia can also circumvent that and sell it on the black market. And then pretty soon, barrels of oil will go up to $300 per barrel or gallon or whatever it is. And then over here in Houston, Texas alone, shortly we could see over $9 a gallon due to them effing around with Putin and losing. So, I mean, people aren't really thinking along those terms. You know what I mean?
Well, can I interrupt here and tell you what your Secretary of Transportation just said? Pete Buttigieg, what's his name? Buttigieg, whatever his name is. Secretary Buttigieg just said, and I can't say the word. I don't know what it is. So if I'm doing it wrong, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but Buttigieg, whatever his name is. Mayor Pete
or something like that.
Yeah, Mayor Pete. Let's just say Mayor Pete.
Mayor Pete.
Mayor Pete, Mayor Pete of Transportation said, go get a Tesla. He just literally said that. Average Tesla is what? $70,000?
Well, I made one on computer once, my daughter and I, when they first came out, and ours came up to about $90,000. The one that we wanted. This is when they first came out.
Right. And you're always with the base model. You always get the base model. No radio. I'll put my own radio in.
Well, I wanted some of the nice stuff on it too. And so for him to say, go get a Tesla is very tone deaf, dude. Because for one, you got the resources, but there's a lot of people who, listen, I'm going to tell y'all, and y'all probably seeing it now. Everywhere I've gone today, whether it's the store or I've driven by a drive-through or something, it's crickets. Nobody's in there. And so if this is not telling you something, people are now starting to feel the crunch. I'm in Houston, right? And so from being a Californian, I'm used to paying $4 a gallon. You know what I'm saying? And I've even seen it at $5. And so, though I like it, no, but I'm kind of used to it. But I know people here in Houston are not used to that. When I first got to Houston in 2020, I think it was 2020, yeah, it was $2.30. Now it's over $4, and in some places it's probably $5. And so we're going to start to see and the point that I'm making is with Mayor Pete or Secretary Pete or whatever saying go get a Tesla. I almost called him the N-word because I mean, you know that the American people are feeling it more than ever. And so for you to say, well, go get a Tesla. That's very, but those are the people we have in power who have no earthly idea.
Corporate Democrats.
That some people wish or are wishing that they had a bowl of top ramen right now, but yet you should go get you a Tesla.
Right. You know, let me ask you this real quick, Demetra. When was the last time we saw gas at $2.32?
In California?
Yeah. We were in high school. We were just coming out of high school.
Well, I saw it a couple times. It was.
Yeah, it dropped a couple times in the 2000s, but that was like rare. But I'm just talking about like I remember we came out of high school. I think gas was like $1.76 or something like that.
If that.
Yeah. So I mean, you're talking about almost 30 years.
Right. So
for those people to go to $5, I know they're just like with all their trucks and stuff and SUVs because Texas is
$9 soon here because they're going to try to, they being in America and their allies are going to try to play a game with Putin and lose because they're like,
wow.
You think that nobody's going to buy that oil except the people in the East will buy the oil.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it sounds good to us here. Ooh, Biden's they gonna sock it to Putin. They gonna put all these embargoes and sanctions all up on him. Yeah, and Putin's like, man, hold my beer.
Well, you got to think about this too. And I kind of was thinking about this, being a military guy, and I love history and stuff. And I was watching how Putin and Trump were interacting, and I'm just speculating. As a military person, wouldn't it make sense for him in the 4 years of Trump to stockpile what he needed, knowing he was going to go in and take over the Ukraine anyway? That's what I would have done in the 4 year time. I got a friendly president. I don't really have to worry about it. I let my demands be known that this is my beef with them if they don't do this. Now this unfriendly administration comes in. I've already set up my reserves. I've already done all the things that I need to keep my war machine going. And then if you look at the Biden administration, if they were really serious about cutting this guy off at the head, you need to cut off his access to the banks. The West, they won't do it. The major powers don't want to do it because war is big money and they want to fund both sides of this conflict.
And ultimately, Biden, as good as he sounds and he's mad at Putin, he doesn't want to completely piss Putin off. So they're going to, these little bitty things here and there, but he ain't crazy because he know Putin is like, listen, I have no chill, dude. I have no chill at all. But the other thing, too, thinking about Trump, when Trump was in office, remember when one of the Ball brothers was over there was it China? And
China.
Stole the glasses. Trump said, hey, dude, let him go. And he did. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like Trump, but there's something to be said for him being friends with people that most United States presidents or whatever are not friends with, if y'all following me here.
Yeah, because what it is that they use this trope of us versus them. It's the same playbook, us versus them, in regards to keeping everybody distracted. When all of them are in the same, they all go to the same restaurants. All of them are rich. Now, remember on my podcast years ago, and I would tell everybody years ago, these parties flip every 20 years or so. How do I know they flipped? How does Donald Trump, a billionaire, identify with so many populous people that are working class people? They think, oh, Trump's our dude. But then you got the Nancy Pelosi's and the Democrats that keep saying that they're for the people. And yet they give the subsidies to all these corporations and stuff. And you look at where they get their money. They get their money from all of these corporations and stuff. And yet you're telling me the Democrats are for the people, but they can't pass near anything that is substantial for the people. But Trump could give out stimulus checks. Trump could do this. He's freeing black prisoners in the United States. He's just doing this. But you're telling me the Democrats are for the people. And then now you got a Democratic president who acts like his hands are tied when it comes to black people. And you brought up a good point about when Trump said, just let him go. If Trump was in office right now and Brittney Griner was in that problem, just like, what's his name? ASAP Rocky or whatever that kid was. Another situation. He said, let him go. They let him go. Biden, in no way in hell can he do that.
And let's all point out, those were black people that Trump got free.
Right. And
those were black people.
Can't do it. My hands are tied. Nothing I could do.
Those were black people that he got free. Now, I know they were celebrities, but I'm just saying, keeping in the same vein, that he was able to make some things move. And so, I mean, y'all can say what y'all want about this whole situation.
Y'all a bunch of Biden supporters. I mean, y'all a bunch of Trump supporters. Yeah, that's what y'all are. Y'all, Demetri K, you a Trump supporter.
I mean, I don't. At this point, I don't care what people call me. I know what I am. I'm not a supporter of either one of them. But what I do like to delve into is logic. I don't like to go with emotions as much, because emotions get you what we got, and that's Biden and Kamala. And high-ass gas prices and high food prices and everything's going through the roof, instability. I mean, even the other day, he talking about y'all need to get back to work. Y'all need to get back to work so we can start filling up these downtowns again. It's like, you old crotchety, raggedy. You just sound like an old miser. Get back to work. Like, you know what I envisioned when I heard him say that? Is... don't nobody bring me no bad news. Right. On the wheels when she was like, wow.
Yes. Right.
That's what I envisioned, So it's like, but on the field, like, this is really the wins. If you really think about we can really break this up. When Trump was gone, can you feel a new day?
Yes.
Right? They shed all the clothes and the Wicked Witch was there.
Right.
And now you got Biden up in there. Wow.
Exactly. All his promises never came true. None of it. Zero. I mean, you can say what you want about Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter, neither is Demetri, but if you think I am, that's fine. But at least I'm not going to continue to vote for my own oppression. I'm not going to do that. But everything that Trump ran on, he pretty much did what he said he was going to do. He's going to give rich the biggest tax break ever. He did so. Gave the military more money than any president combined. Did so. I mean, like him or hate him, he's an idiot and he's a douchebag and stuff. But because he was a political outsider and a dumbass businessman, he didn't care what it cost. If you could put a war for 20 years on the millennials' credit card, and you're not worried about the cost of all the money, trillions of dollars that was spent, Trump was like, hey, give it to him. Oh, so-and-so, give it to him. Why not? And they went up to him. They literally said this to Trump. They go, wow, the deficit's going to explode if you keep spending like this. And you know what his answer was? Oh, I'm not going to be here. So, oh, well.
Yeah, but so again, this is not really an argument of Trump being better than Biden, but I think you need to do the math. And so this is what happens too when you go with emotions over logic. People, and I would always ask people this, so are you more mad at what Trump is doing, or are you more mad at the things he says? And most of the time,
he's disrespectful.
Yeah, most of the time it was the things he said. Okay, sticks and stones type of thing, right? So then you go over to Biden. Are you more mad at the things, or are you more happy about the things he's saying, or more happy about the things he's doing? So if you line both of those up, well, it's like if you look at Biden's track record, especially in regards to Black people, he's been very harmful. And so what we got here is a presidency that was built off of the emotions of the voter. Even look at Biden's tagline, where this is a battle for the soul of the country. Trump is a devil, and he's taking all of us to hell with him. And if you don't vote for me, we're all gonna burn, right? So people got all charged up. Oh, riding with Biden. Oh, he's so fine. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, it's like the Obama's gonna be back in the White House. Ooh, Kamala good. All of that, all of emotions got us here. Got us here. And so the other thing too is, because I listen to a lot of talk radio. I just do, right? That's my passion when I'm in the car. So
yeah. Weren't you a Rush Limbaugh fan?
Not quite.
No.
not quite. So they were saying how Biden is now going to try to spin this and say, well, it's Putin's fault that the gas is high. But they're like, don't forget, the gas was already on the rise before this war started. You already saw shortages in the store before the war started. So he could try it. And you know why he'll be successful? Because there's still a lot of people who really want to believe that Biden is that guy. He's still trying to save the soul of the country and all this other stuff, right? But the fact of the matter is, dude, the country was already spiraling to the pit of hell before Putin kicked it off for Ukraine. It's a fact.
Well, and the bad thing about Biden is I'll give him this. He did say, I'm the status quo candidate. And he meant that shit. He's the status quo candidate. If you like the way things were, police bashing black people in the head and just, arresting it, I have a crime bill. That's his legacy, is that 1994 crime bill. And he's making sure, like I said, the Democrats have all the power in the world. If you do not repeal that crime bill, everything else really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're incentivizing these states to lock up people for the most frivolous type things. Again, back to the Brittney Griner thing. It's a little or nothing. Like you said, you can have a little bit of weed, and that is the only justification they need to arrest you. And then you have to go through a trial and all that other stuff. You're in the system. And let's say they're going to throw it out. But how many hours are you going to lose going to court just for them to continue it and then continue it and continue? It just all sorts of stuff that's going on. So what we got to start doing in conclusion with the Brittney Griner thing is this. Here's my thing. If they're treating us like shit here in the United States, the freest country in the world, right? Logically, would it not make sense that if you go to any other country, you are not going to be treated as well? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and then the other thing too is maybe she's like, I'm just not going to get caught. Or the other thing it's a possibility that she really didn't believe she was doing anything wrong. We got to throw all the possibilities in there. I don't think whatever she was doing, and I don't know, Brittney, it's funny because I saw her one day. I was in the airport coming from Houston to California, and I saw her, walking by. She was getting off a plane and all that. So I don't think anything that she did or she's accused of doing came from a malicious standpoint and that she was trying to be nefarious or anything.
She's kind of laid back, though. Her personality is kind of laid back.
I think she probably got caught up, and it was like a oops type of thing.
But can I just inquire, when you said that she didn't really know, how many WNBA players or just athletes in general in any league where marijuana or marijuana paraphernalia, even though I know it's not an enhancer, we know that, where it's allowed? So
I'm not saying
I have to push back on that.
Well, I'm not saying that she didn't know she wasn't supposed to have that per se, but maybe she wasn't really thinking that the cartridge was that big of a deal going through, the airport or wherever. Because in all fairness, I see people smoking, I used to anyway, before the whole COVID thing, smoking vapes everywhere, because it's not real smoke or whatever. So maybe she wasn't thinking it was a big deal, because I kind of have to put logic to this. Logically speaking, is that, okay, I'm in another country where their rules are a little bit more austere than they are everywhere else, right? I just logically have to believe she really didn't think that what she was doing was that big of a deal or that was going to be an infraction. I just don't see her willingly, because this, like I said, I'm one of those people, I got to really put logic to it. It ain't like she had a duffel bag full of dope. She had a cartridge full of hash. So I cannot believe within my mind that she knew she was going to get in trouble for that and took it anyway. Something tells me
But
she didn't think that was going to be a big deal.
Right, but let me play devil advocate. Okay, let's say we're from California. I'm from California, and I know marijuana is legal, whatever here, right? If I am going to go to another country, don't you think logically, if I have any intelligence, I'm going to research what the law is in regards to this drug that I'm addicted to?
The other thing might have been too. See, we gotta put two and two together. Where was she coming or going?
Would it matter? You're on an international flight.
Yes,
no,
it would matter.
I don't think it would matter.
The reason why I'm saying it would matter, listen, you got to follow the logic here. It would matter because if she was leaving Russia, where did she get it from?
Probably the black market in Russia.
She probably got it in Russia. Okay.
Right.
So I'm just saying, like, if I had to defend Brittney, if I had to do it, if she was leaving Russia, I'm thinking in her mind, she probably thought I got it here. And so it's not really smoke per se. I'm just putting some logic to it.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to follow, but go ahead.
Not really, because you don't know what logically, do you really think she was going to take a cartridge full of hash over knowing she could potentially go to jail for 10 years?
On an international flight, it doesn't matter if you're, no. It doesn't matter if you're coming or going. You're on an international flight. It's different if I'm going from California to maybe New York. Oh, I know it's legal over there because people do it. You're on an international flight.
That's the point that I'm making. So if she was coming from Russia, she got it, and let's say she got it there. I don't know all the facts. I'm just speculating. But if she got it in Russia, maybe in her mind she was thinking it's nothing wrong with that. It's a cartridge. It's not real smoke. I'm not even smoking it. I'm just taking it, right? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you have to look at the international laws because here's the thing. If you had that same cartridge at LAX or Houston and you're traveling to another country, even though it's no big deal here, is it going to be a big deal there?
Right, but that's why I said we got to figure out if she was coming or going. Now I understand.
It wouldn't matter.
Yes, it does matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
I'm saying in logically the way she might have been thinking. I'm not talking about laws. I'm talking about in her mind because we can't regulate.
But that would be ignorant.
But listen, we're not arguing ignorance. We're arguing what was she thinking.
Doesn't matter. Gray area.
That's not the issue I'm making, though. I'm not arguing the law because clearly she broke the law. I don't think that's the argument. The argument that I'm asking is, what was she thinking? Because I can understand that she was coming from the United States to Russia, and she had that. Anybody know that you coming from the United States, you ain't supposed to have none of the above with you, right? But maybe she was thinking, I don't know. I'm just kind of just trying to put a little bit of logic from her standpoint from it. Maybe she didn't know she wasn't supposed to have it. Because like I said,
ignorance of the law is no excuse. Yeah, but go ahead.
I've never been to Russia, but I kind of know that's probably not a good idea. So I can't think of anybody knowing that they could potentially risk their freedom up to 10 years and doing that anyway. Okay,
here's what a lot of people don't understand. Now, I'm a pilot. I know how it works, okay? There are international borders, right? There are international agreements. What they do at the TSA and the security and they go through your bags there is the same as they would do in Russia. That's why you have the similar agents and things of that nature so it would stop the free flow of narcotics. So if she knew going out of United States internationally, it's wrong, she should also know that it's wrong to travel there as well. And I know what you're saying, her thought pattern, but what we're saying is the reality of the fact is it's international law. These are things that are done.
How many people travel through a TSA?
I know, and some people get through.
I'm just making an example. One of the last times I flew, I had what I thought was acceptable to carry on with me as far as lotion. It was solid shea butter, but because it was too big,
past 3 ounces.
Yeah, I'm thinking that applies to only liquid. My shea butter wasn't liquid; it was a solid, and they confiscated it. So I said, "Oh wow." I thought that only applied to liquids, because I spent a lot of money on that shea butter. Otherwise, I would not have brought it. So they confiscated it, to say the least. Or I could have paid $70 to fly it over there, which was a do. And so people travel with, I don't know, things that they don't believe is a weapon in their bag. And then they say, oh, you can't take that. I've seen it every time I've gone through. So the point that I'm making is, it is plausible that she thought she was okay with that. That's all. I'm not saying I'm not saying she should have broke the law. I'm not arguing legality. I'm arguing what she might have been thinking.
So you're saying hashish, which is a form of marijuana or whatever you want to call it. She had no idea hashish, even though it's in a small vial, is okay to put on a plane and go through security and everything like that. I mean, she's that ignorant. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that she is that ignorant. I'm saying it's plausible. I'm saying it's plausible that she didn't think. Well, I don't know. I don't know, Brittney. Yeah. I don't know any particulars, but for me, it would be hard to see somebody risking their livelihood over a cartridge or whatever it is of.
I don't think, you know what, I'm gonna have to disagree, because you see it all the time where these celebrities and stuff do, they leave stuff in their bag, but the gun is in the bag or whatever the deal is. If something says hashish, okay, we know it is some kind of marijuana or drug paraphernalia. And in that country, it's a drug paraphernalia. It says hashish. I don't know if she, I don't know. And I'll give her the benefit of the doubt of, okay, maybe somebody put it in her bag. Maybe, let's give her that. Okay, let's just say she didn't even know it was in the bag. Maybe somebody, how many of you guys have seen Locked Up Abroad? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, so I'll give her that. But what I'm saying is this. You can't tell me when you got a brick of heroin and the package says heroin, that you don't know it's not heroin. You know what I mean? But again, I'll do the Locked Up Abroad and give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the particulars of the case. Legally speaking, yeah. Mm-hmm. But what was she thinking? I'm not saying it was right. That she thought she was okay. If it was me, I wouldn't have taken it in anywhere, especially if, if I had so much to lose. And even if I didn't have that much to lose, I wouldn't have taken that gamble. I wouldn't have needed it that bad. I would have waited till I got somewhere where it was legal, whatever. But I don't particularly know what she.
See, wait, I gotta correct you right there. See, you're saying, waiting to where it's legal. I understand that, but see, but this is where a lot of people make the mistake. They think, oh, I can just take this over here and then maybe dump it when I get there, or whatever. And that isn't what they're.
I mean, again, I don't know what she was thinking, but I said for me, if that's something I did, I would wait till I got somewhere where I can do it with, not getting in trouble. I mean, that's just me. Yeah. But I don't do those things, and I don't judge people who do. If you want to smoke weed or whatever, that's on you. It doesn't cost me anything.
I'm gonna say this. That is going to be one hell of a Locked Up Abroad episode. I'm gonna tune into that bad boy.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I hope that she does not get that kind of time. But the other thing too is, I mean, I think you need to be cognizant of the things that you do when you're not at home. Act like you got some sense. Yeah. The other case that was in kind of recent history. Of the American kid, he went over there and was spray painting cars and stuff.
Singapore doesn't play. Mm-hmm. And they gave him a break.
Yeah, they wanted to cane him when they ended up caning him.
Well, actually, the initial punishment was the caning plus prison time. And they whittled it down to a caning.
Well, actually, I think it was just prison, and then they said, okay, well, we'll cane him. But the guy that he was spray painting with got more lashes than he did. But the argument was, especially from Americans, oh, that's so harsh, it's so cruel, it's so barbaric. Mm-hmm. But they were like, well, he kind of over here off the chain, and so we're going to do to him what we would do to anybody else.
And they tell tourists that come into that country what the basic rules are. They tell them.
Well, and not only that, I mean, you can't tell somebody else how to prescribe their punishment. But the argument was it's such a brutal process of it breaking the skin open and all of that.
That's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of it.
It's a deterrent. But the thing is, well, if you don't want your ass caned, then don't spray paint
all the rules
stuff. Right. See, over here, and he's a white kid on top of that. And so, over here, he wouldn't have probably got us a little slap on the wrist. Don't do it again. Some community service. But they're over there. They're like, well, we got law and order over here for a reason. We don't let our youth just be off the chain like that. There's consequences.
Consequences? What? Accountability? What? Here in America? Ain't gonna happen. There's always gray. Everybody operates in the gray. My mama left me when they left the family when I didn't know my daddy. And you know what's really crazy about this whole thing? They're blaming it on men. If we would pay the WNBA players what the men make, she would never have been over in Russia to begin with. I've heard these arguments on the blogs, and I'm just like, wow, this is unbelievable. These people talk about equity, but they don't understand capitalism. If your business doesn't turn a profit, how much, Demetra, are you going to pay your employees?
Well, I mean, I think it's simple mathematics with the WNBA. Should they be getting paid more? Yeah, but if it doesn't add up mathematically, then they're not going to get
exactly. And the money that they are getting, they're being supplemented because they're not making the league is not making any money.
Right.
So technically, a good business, people would have folded the business 25 years ago.
Yeah, you get money from filling up the stands and the
merchandise and all this other, and the TV contract. They don't even want to watch the TV anymore. I mean, they don't even want these. The product is really bad. And I'm not saying there are a lot of girls that ball. I know a bunch of girls that can ball. But the fact of the matter is the WNBA ladies and gentlemen, if you guys know anything about basketball, it is a bad product. And let me just say this to clarify. The NBA, where it's at today, took 40, 50 years until Magic Johnson and Larry Bird in the 80s came in to where they started making that kind of money. So at even if let's say they are turning a profit and give them the benefit of the doubt, at 25 years of existence, you expect to be making the same amount of money as the current NBA players are making? It ain't going to happen. Your product is bad. I believe they need to fold up camp and just go away because nobody is supporting that product. And I'm a big LA Sparks fan. But I got to tell the truth. The product is bad. It's just bad.
Right. So, I mean, and I don't think it's bad that they can't play. It's just that nobody really wants to partake like they do in the men's sport. And I think that's with every sport where there's a women's and there's men's. Soccer is the same way.
Well, I have to disagree. A lot of women can't play. Go watch a clip of the WNBA. They're missing open layups. I mean, air balls. I mean, there are a few that can play. Candace Parker can play. I can point them out. Brittney Griner can play. You can point them out. But as a whole, garbage.
Well, I mean, I think they're women. So, I mean, they not the women because that they're
lower the goals.
Well, no, that's not
inches.
No, that's not what it is. I mean, it's like that in every sport for the most part. Soccer, they were having the same argument when the women USA team went and won the gold. They were like, we should be paid more. I mean, we're winners, and the men's team, I'm just telling you, we're winners, and the men's team is not winners, and we should be paid equally or just as much or whatever.
Yeah, that isn't how capitalism works.
As far as the WNBA, the product is, people really don't want it much.
Yeah.
But just a little history here for y'all. There's a player by the name of Lucia Harris. A lot of people have never heard of her or even
awesome player in her day. Awesome.
Yeah. She was actually the first woman drafted into the NBA.
Yep.
But she did not, want to do it because she was like, I think you guys are, I don't know if you're trying to get publicity or what. Yeah. She didn't really take them, seriously. But they said her stats were better than Magic Johnson. That's how well she played. And so,
compared to women.
No, they said compared to men.
But she played against women.
But they said her stats.
Right. That's like me playing against fifth graders. My stats would be great.
That's not what I know what I said. Okay. I do my research.
Okay, go ahead.
I know what I said.
Mm-hmm. Her stats are good.
Were just as good, if not better, than Magic Johnson. If y'all don't believe me, go look it up.
But she played against other women. It's not the same thing.
The point, it is the same thing.
It's not.
Her stats.
It's not the same thing. It's not. That's apples and oranges.
Y'all watching this, y'all be the judge. Research what I said, okay?
It's not the same
Evidently,
thing.
she was good enough. So if her stats did not measure to Magic Johnson, why did they want to draft her?
No. I didn't say they didn't measure. Now, if you're looking at
You
against
said in
other women,
comparison to women and men.
yeah,
So
compared to women and men.
why did the NBA where men play want to draft her?
The publicity stunt.
Do we know that for a fact?
We don't know that for a fact. But my point is this. If you look at her stats, all I'm asking is this. Who did she play against?
She played against women.
Okay, stop. Right there.
No, we ain't gonna stop because she played against women, but yet the NBA wanted to draft. Numbers don't lie.
No. There's been plenty of women.
But if she's doing, let's say, triple doubles, if she's doing as many triple doubles, let's say, as Magic Johnson was, I don't know if triple double was the same. Are they the same numbers?
Yes, they're the same numbers. They're the same numbers, but they're in different leagues. You're talking about apples and oranges. That is why it's very hard for a woman to transition into the man's league, because the man's league is more physical. I'm not saying she's not good. I mean, there's been a bunch of women that have been drafted since her.
I want y'all to go look what
tried out for the NBA, and physicality they couldn't match it.
Look up what I'm saying. She was a beast.
Against women.
Against men too.
Name me the woman. Name me the man.
Do this, y'all, in the comment section because we are out of time. Research Lucia Harris, Lusia Harris. Look at her stats and all that and do a comparison. Keep in mind that the NBA drafted her and she declined it. So she was actually drafted, but she declined it.
There are a lot of women that have been drafted.
She's the first. We're talking about her being the first.
Right.
And then comment on what you find.
Sure. There's been a lot of women that have been drafted. I'll give it that. But when it comes down to it, the physicality and the pace of the game makes the difference. And that's the whole key.
Well, what we're not going to do is argue math. But anyway,
we're just arguing facts. Men are physically more.
Would you agree that Serena Williams is by far the best athlete walking on 2 feet?
In tennis.
No, in the world.
In tennis.
In the world.
In tennis. She can't play football.
I'm saying ever to live as far as her stats and all of that. I'm saying in comparison to athletes, not just tennis. And even if you want to put it at tennis, Serena,
you can't compare one sport. You can't do that.
See,
there's no such thing as an overall athlete.
But it's been said. I'm not saying this for me. This is not even really an original thought. This has been said, right?
By who?
By a lot of people. Look, Google being free.
There is no such thing.
Oh, these were men saying that.
Athlete.
These were men. Men said that. With Google being free, why are we asking all these damn questions?
No. Here's my point. Deion Sanders played baseball and football. Bo Jackson played this and that. What I'm saying, there's no such thing as an overall great athlete. To say that this woman is the greatest athlete of all times and she played one sport.
She is.
That's an opinion.
Okay. Well, you research it, prove me wrong. But even if you wanted to stay with tennis.
Sure.
Serena is the best to
tennis
do it
player of all times
on both sides, men and women. Facts.
No.
Who's the greatest?
That's hard to say because.
Well, wait. It ain't know what you know, it's what you can prove.
And I can prove this. How many men has she played against? Wait, how many men has she played against? All the information isn't there.
I'm saying look at her numbers.
Okay, forget the numbers right now.
You can't forget the numbers.
Yes, I can, because you said men and women. My question to you is, how many men has she played against?
I asked you though. I said, then who do you consider to be the greatest? If you said she's not, then who is?
I would have to say Billie Jean King, if you're asking me without knowing Serena's overall numbers.
Again, y'all look this stuff up in the comment section. Please let us know.
My question for you is, how many men has she played against? That's all. I need to know that to start.
Well, I mean, I don't think she's played against any men, but if
Billie Jean King has, and she beat him.
That don't make her the greatest.
No, exactly. But just like saying that she's this great player, she hasn't, and you can't name one man she played against. How can you do that?
Look at the stats. Look at the stats.
But you're saying men and women. Billie Jean King played a man and beat him.
I'm personally saying, period.
Okay, that's an opinion. Billie Jean King played a man and beat him.
Look, was it good?
Yeah, Bobby Riggs was good at one time. He was a little over his time period, but he was pretty good.
Stop right
But
there.
she beat him. It's called the Battle of the Sexes.
I
Look it
think
up.
a lot of men I could beat doing stuff that don't
Right, but I'm asking you, how many men has Serena played against, and you can't name one.
But if he's, because I don't know, I'm not saying.
So then, how can you say she's the best on both sides?
Yeah, because she beat him. Because Billie Jean King beat a man that you said was over the hill. That don't make her the greatest of all time.
No. In my opinion, it does. But at least I named a man.
You can't even do that. No, I said I don't know. If to my knowledge, she hasn't. I said that.
Right, which is why I say it's an opinion.
Right. To my knowledge, she has not played a man. Because she has not played a man does not mean she's not the greatest. Now, I asked you originally, you said you didn't know, and then you dug Billie Jean King about
because she played a man. I can say that. I mean, how can you say, oh, she's better than men and women, and she never played a man? How can you say that?
One thing I do know is this is why doves cry.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. This is called delusional women. Once again, promoting a narrative that isn't true.
This is why doves cry.
You're promoting a narrative that isn't true. You're saying Serena could beat men and women. That's what you said.
I said, okay, fine. Wait. I didn't say that.
You said she's the greatest men and women.
And women. I never said she could beat men and women. I'm talking statistically speaking. I never
How
said
can you say that statistically speaking if she never, to your knowledge, played against a man?
Numbers don't lie.
It does lie if she never played against a man.
She don't need to play against a man to have good stats.
Oh my God. That's like saying, okay, I'm the greatest basketball player that ever played, and I played against nothing but men, and I excluded the women. I have no numbers that show me against any women.
You just told me Billie Jean King was better than Serena because she beat a decrepit dude.
No. I said, in my opinion, she's the greatest. In my opinion.
Got it.
Because she played against a man that I asked you.
Dude that was past his prime.
Whatever, but at least I know she played against one. You can't even tell me a man that Serena played against.
She played against a man and beat him. Don't mean nothing. Especially if it was an old.
There we go. Gentlemen, delusional women once again. Throwing out numbers that just don't make no sense.
Because you try to argue numbers, brother.
That's like saying, I could beat Michael Jordan and you never played him. You never played him. But you're saying it though. Come on. What I'm saying is that's an opinion. That's not a fact. You got to have the numbers. If there's no numbers from men, the numbers aren't there.
Listen, I could be very wrong, but are numbers facts?
Numbers are facts.
With that being said.
But if she never played a man, there's no numbers. So it's not fact. It's not fact. If you've never played against a man, you don't have any man numbers to compare. So it's not fact. That's an opinion.
So let's say Serena won 50 games and a man won 40.
Right. Okay. And apples and oranges.
How?
Male, female, apples and oranges.
So if two men are playing each other and Serena's playing another woman and she won more games than this man, would that not make her greater in the larger scheme of tennis?
Okay, great. Have you heard of Sue Bird?
Yes, I have.
She's a basketball player.
I have.
They say she has won just as many titles as LeBron, been in the league at almost the same time as LeBron, whatever. So you're saying that she is greater than LeBron James. And I don't even like LeBron.
Well, it's not just that alone. I'm saying you're trying to say because Serena's never played a man,
apples and oranges.
Qualified from the title.
Yeah, it's apples and oranges. You have two different leagues. You have a man league and you have a female league. So you're saying that if the NBA merged with the WNBA, the women could just ball just as well as the dudes. Is that what you're saying?
That's what they said about Lucia Harris.
Absolutely. It didn't happen.
That's
an opinion. It didn't happen.
The men's just drafted her.
It doesn't matter. They drafted her in the 12th round.
She was drafted
in the 12th
nevertheless.
round, 7th or 12th round. So you're not saying the whole story. She was drafted. She wasn't a first round draft pick. She was drafted like the 9th or 7th round or something like that. 2 different leagues, 2 different stats. You can't compare the two. You just can't. Apples and oranges. You're playing against 2 different types.
So it wasn't 12, it was 7th.
Okay, that's what I said. 7th, 9th, 12th. It
That
like
was
she
a
was a
stretch,
first round pick.
brother. That was a stretch.
Well, still, it was way back in the thing. In those days, to be
77.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. To be drafted in the 7th round, I mean, good luck. I mean, whatever. That's like being drafted in the 125th round in the NBA today. There is no such round. The only rounds that matter are the first 2. You could be a walk-on. I'm not saying she isn't great because I saw her story and I read her story. But to say, and a matter of fact, in the 30 for 30 thing, she even said one of the reasons why she didn't go to the tryout was the fact that men were more physical and she was kind of intimidated at how they played the game compared to what she was used to.
Well, I didn't hear that part of the story.
Yeah. The man's game is totally different. I'm not saying I said I know some women that can ball. What I'm saying is you can't compare apples and oranges. They're 2 different things.
I don't really think they're apples and oranges.
They are.
Anyway,
get you the greatest female basketball team of all times. I'll get you the greatest male team of all times, and you're telling me that would be a competitive sport.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Delusional, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not sure. Delusion is trying to make your own math here. That's delusion.
You can't make math if there's no numbers to support the equation. You can't do it.
On that note,
yes,
we are going to get out of here because we've overstayed our welcome arguing. So anyway, y'all, this has been very fun, and we will see you guys on Saturday for the next. I almost said draft round pick. The next draft. Anyway, for the next podcast, y'all, if you guys would support New Black Media, we have a PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App at the bottom of the screen. You can also find us on Speaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio,
Tidal,
all of that. You want to listen to us as you're on the go. And so, as always, we will see you guys later, and be safe out there. Peace.